Good afternoon. Welcome back to the B&H event space. Today we are talking about everybody's favorite type of stream, revenue streams. The photo manager's back. Cathi Nelson, we pulled her back. She got
Yeah,
away from us a little, took a little break. I don't know if it was something we said. No. Cathi, great to have you back.
yeah, it's great to be back. Good to see you, Derek. Good to see everybody, all the B&H folks that listen to these great webinars that they do, and excited to talk again about this really good revenue stream, especially for those anybody passionate about photos. I think you'll be interested in what I have to say.
Yeah, who doesn't like extra income,
No, right? Yeah.
right? So
Need it.
Cathi, I'll turn it over to you. I'll remind all of our viewers, if you guys do have any questions, feel free to drop them into the YouTube chat. Cathi is going to have another guest that we'll get to a little bit into this presentation. So I want to thank both the ladies for joining us today. And of course, all of our viewers, it's time to learn. So I'll dip into the background here, Cathi, and I'll see you at the end for some Q&A.
Good, perfect. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. I'm thrilled to be here. And in a minute, I'll introduce Shlomit, who is coming to us from LA, which is a very relevant moment in history right now with all the fires and things there, and also the concern people have. Whoops, that's the wrong screen share I have there. Stop share. I usually grab the right one, but I didn't. Let's see, desktop 2. No, why am I? I wonder if when I practice this, oh, here we go, because I have my PowerPoint up. Sorry about that. So I'm going to start a slideshow here. And I want to talk again, as Derek mentioned, it is unlocking new revenue streams. I know who doesn't want an opportunity to earn some additional revenue. So I'm excited to bring this to you today. And these are the questions I'm looking forward to answering that you might be wondering if you've joined us. What exactly does it mean to be a photo manager, and how is it different from being a professional photographer or making a living in many different ways? How does photo management align or complement anybody who already has an existing photography business or any other kind of business? What are the most common types of clients who hire somebody to help them with their photos? What is the demand in the market? What's the growth opportunity? What are the skills that you need to have? And how can the photo managers, which I am the CEO and founder of, support you every step of the way? I'm Cathi Nelson. I'm the CEO and founder of the Photo Managers. And actually, you'll probably have learned from quite a few of our members. So about 3 different times a year, we do a month-long series with everybody here at B&H about all sorts of topics in this field. And I'm the author of Photo Organizing Made Easy, and also a business roadmap for professional photo organizers. So it's really good to be back. And I'm excited, as I mentioned, also to have our guest speaker with us today, who has been a professional photo organizer since 2020, but owns her own full service custom photography boutique in Southern California, and she'll tell you more about her background in a few minutes. So let's start with the why, right? Why is there a need for this? What we're getting ready to talk about, and why would you even consider organizing somebody else's photos and videos? I often tell people the idea of organizing photos is like watching paint dry. There's nothing sexy, exciting about that, but that's not the reason, right? It's the why. The why is because in each of those photos is a story, right? A memory, a connection, a feeling, historical information, and so much more. We take photos, and I also add videos to tell the stories of our lives. We save our kids' artwork. We save our baby's first shoes, a favorite blanket, your grandmother's treasured teapot, right? Because they connect us to our history, our family, and our memories. Today, we just are overwhelmed. We have way too many of them, right? Too many printed photos, slides, and negatives from the past, still sitting in faded albums or boxes and bins. We have old home movies on formats we can't view any longer. How many of you have a VCR or camcorder anymore? And forget it, our digital collection, we don't even have to go there, right? And if your digital collection is organized, good for you. The shoemaker has no shoes. It's an endless battle to stay ahead of all of that, right? And nobody's going to want to weed through all those photos to find the few that matter. And that's what professional photo managers do for their clients. And that's what we want to talk about. There was just some interesting statistics that came out at the end of 2024 that talk about our job security, right? This is by Matic Broats from the photo tutorial. All of humanity took 5.3 billion photos every day that human beings on this planet. That's about 61,400 every second, or 1.94 trillion in 2024. So those numbers are just staggering, right? They don't even mean anything. They're meaning, I don't have any, I can barely pronounce a billion trillion, right? But if you ask people what they'd be most upset about losing in a flood or a fire or a data crash, is going to be their photos. And it's not the 5.3 billion photos, but the ones that showcase the stories of their lives. And again, this is very poignant right now. because of what's happening in LA and the thousands of people who have lost everything. And one of the things that people, of course, are most devastated about losing, and you hear on the news constantly too, is either their photos or even a favorite shirt, or something that you own. So what series of photos or videos would you be most sad about losing? Here's an example of how photo managers bring photos back to life for their clients. This is a photo of my husband and his family. Every summer, his parents would load them up in an old station wagon without AC or seatbelts, and they would pull a travel to see the different national parks in the US. We did the same thing 35 years later, and with our kids, and now the third generation, which are the children of the older folks that you see, the black and white photos. Most of them now have their own families, and they're doing the same thing with their kids. So that's what a photo manager does, right? They help find the stories and the traditions within those photos that people care about and would be most upset about losing. That's why I love this quote, that there have been great societies that did not have a wheel, but no societies that did not tell stories, by Ursula Le Guin. That is really sums it all up, right? We are a people of stories, and the way we tell stories is through our photos and videos. The minute somebody put a camera in our hands, I think we became storytellers, and not just through the written word or through oral traditions, but through the photos that we take. And that's why people care so deeply about them. And that's why there's such a growing need for professionals to help families and businesses get their arms around this and manage it. So that brings me to our guest speaker today. So Shlomit is from owner of Studio SLB Photography. There's her website, her Instagram, her Facebook, and she's going to join us and tell us a little bit about her business and background. So tell us a little bit about when you added professional photo organizing to your services and why.
So, hi, Cathi, and thank you to B&H for having me today. It really does feel like an important moment to be talking about this today, especially being in LA, where I am right now. I can see blue skies all around, but obviously there's a lot of devastation here, and it has definitely affected many people that I know. My kids are still out of school this week, so it's affecting nearly everyone in LA. I want to talk a little bit about why photo organizing is such an important thing for photographers to be doing, whether we are officially certified photo managers or not. We all do it to some extent. So for me, I added professional photo organizing services when I realized that I had this problem, really, as a photographer, as a business owner, and as a mom. Basically, I was trying to find a convenient way to combine my iPhone photo library with my personal Lightroom catalog of family photos, so I could see everything in one place, and find favorite images for a slideshow that I was creating for my son's bar mitzvah. But the issue was that I had multiple backups from over the years, and trying to make sure that I didn't lose anything. And I didn't really know what was where, if there were duplicates and so on. And when I looked for solutions, it turned out that there was not a super easy or quick fix to this. And eventually I Googled and found the photo managers. And in trying to solve my own problem, I ended up going deep down a rabbit hole, realizing there was a big demand for this service from my own clients. And when I told some of them what I was working on, they quickly raised their hand and volunteered to be my guinea pigs as my first photo organizing clients. So clients are even more overwhelmed with their own personal photo libraries. And so my first projects really included organizing a client's digital photo collection. I also created for another client a wedding album from a bunch of proof prints that they had 20 years after their photographer had just disappeared. And so we've done all kinds of projects like that in the meantime, and my clients have been thrilled that we can help them with these issues.
Yeah, and what's been great is watching your journey. I remember meeting you. It was right during COVID, right? It was
yeah, I think it was just before COVID was when I first started doing this, and I joined. I think it was just before COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember we had to go from our in-person conference to a virtual conference, and for some reason I have a memory of speaking with you.
Yeah, exactly. That was my first experience. I joined, I think, just before the virtual conference.
Yeah, and now you're speaking at our conference this year in San Diego. We will be in San Diego in April. So So how do you feel your expertise as a pro photographer has helped you with your photo organizing business? And you still do both, right? You still
I
are.
do. Yeah, I do both. And I really think they're complementary and I like doing both. I'm someone who some people would call it multi-passionate. So I'm both a commercial photographer. I do documentary photography. I have an exhibit coming up soon and I do photo organizing. So I do a lot of things. But it's really my experience as a photographer has really been invaluable in terms of photo organizing. First of all, as photographers, we have a deep understanding of visual storytelling, right? We have an aesthetic sensibility. So that allows us to help curate collections that really resonate emotionally with our clients. We can direct our clients and talk about what are the stories and images that are going to be most meaningful to them and to future generations. So we can help them create, curated legacy collections for their children or photo books, wall galleries, that sort of thing. Also, we have this experience with cameras and photo editing software and knowledge of printing processes. All of that allows us to offer comprehensive advice and solutions where we're not starting from zero knowledge in this field. And then lastly, and perhaps most importantly, is, I was already running a profitable business. And so many of the skills that I use for that in terms of marketing and sales and workflows and operations can be transferred to a photo organizing business as well.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, that we know we have over 800 members, professional photo managers, but those that come from a professional photography background can scale a little bit faster just because the learning curve is not as steep. I mean, we have lots of members who are learning Lightroom for the first time or learning some of those things if they're going to take on the digital photo organizing. But having worked in a Lightroom catalog already, you already know so much more, I think. So tell us a little bit about how the fires right now have really impacted awareness of your work. Have you noticed already? One of our members down in San Diego, Rachel Arbuckle, told me she's getting tons of calls already down there and said as people are panicking and things as they realize, what can happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're still in a lot of people are still in sort of a crisis mode. The fires are still burning. There are a lot of people who are still evacuated. There's definitely an awareness that photos are, one of those things that everyone feels really strongly about saving. But I don't think people, from my experience, people aren't yet at the stage of being ready at I think there's just a generalized anxiety right now in the air in Los Angeles. Everyone's walking around kind of shell shocked. So I expect that will come very soon. But right now, people are just desperately looking for housing, really, because there's so many people who have had to evacuate. And it's really devastating. I mean, I have been in touch with several clients, and several of my longtime clients have lost their homes. Many others have had to evacuate, and it just really underscores the value of having a well organized and easily accessible photo collection that's securely backed up. One client who I've worked with 17 years, we can show this photo, really since her first daughter was born. She was able to save all the albums we had created for her over the years. I've been making family photos for her literally since her daughter was born. But she had this beautiful photo gallery wall that we created of black and white photos. We custom designed it for her over the years. And she was absolutely devastated to lose that in the fire. Luckily I have, it's not really luck, it's definitely planned, but I do have backups of pretty much everything I've worked on for my clients. And so we'll be able to recreate these when she's ready. And it just really, really underscores how important it is to have proper backups of everything. And people who have reached out are just so relieved to know that it's at least one thing that they can exhale about. I think as photographers, our work is so important. It's easy to forget that sometimes, but it really holds the stories of our clients' lives. And to help them that they can, help them make sure that they can protect their memories and enjoy them for a lifetime and even beyond is priceless. Again, that's why I think in some ways, every photographer is a photo manager, even if they don't already know it. And so adding some additional skills to your skill set is a really valuable thing to offer to our clients.
Yeah. And so one more question, what advice would you give to anybody considering adding this? And then And how is being a member of the photo manager been a benefit to folks that would are considering joining?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that in terms of anyone thinking of adding photo organizing services, my advice would be to start by just surveying your clients, understanding what their needs are, and see if who would be interested in the service. I think you'll be surprised because you start talking to people and everyone will start saying, I need you. Yes, I do. And so then you need to decide really where to start, depending on what your clients need and what your particular interest and expertise is. There's a lot to learn. It sounds, this is how I got into the rabbit hole because I thought it can't be that complicated. And then I realized just how much there is to learn and understand. So my recommendation is really don't try to learn everything or offer everything all at once. Join the photo managers. It's an incredible resource, both in terms of the education that it provides and in terms of a generous and really kind community, people who really share knowledge freely and really, really wonderful people. And then I would just start with a small project, maybe even your own collection or part of your own collection, just to get the feel of it. And then really recommend getting certified and offering the service to your clients. And you really will probably be amazed at just how many people are eager to have your help with this.
Yeah, that I know that's the common phrase that people get. When I first started this, 15, 16 years ago, people would be like, you do what? But now it's like, oh my gosh, I need you, right? Everybody has a need and it's priceless, really. It's at the end of the day. So from a revenue, adding additional revenue to your business, especially in the world of professional photography, where a lot of people think they're photographers these days, which we know that they may not have the skills, but they tend to think that they do. This is another way to meet the clients that you already have, but also find new clients that are looking for assistance in this area. So thanks so much
Exactly.
for sharing your expertise. And we're gonna move on right now. And
Absolutely.
the 3 different membership options that we've kind of created for folks to think about joining and using. And here's a quick overview. This quiz can be really helpful if you, hang on, I'm just gonna stop my video again. If you really don't know where you want to start, so just do a quick true or false for yourselves. My own photos aren't organized, but I know I want to start a business helping others. I'm focused on getting my own photos organized, but I don't know if I want a business. True or false, I already own a business and I want to expand my services by adding another revenue stream, but I need help. I need, like, how do I price myself? What are workflows? How do I run operations efficiently? Kind of what Shlomit was saying about she's already had her own business, but she went down a rabbit hole in terms of learning. 4, I want to earn meaningful and creative income, whether part-time or full-time. 5, I'd like to fully understand what I'm offering before confidently talking about my services to potential clients. True or false? I'm the kind of person who once I'm in, I'm like all in and I don't want to wait. I just want to know everything at once. True or false, I'm overwhelmed by the variety of photo storage options out there. There's iCloud, Google, Amazon, Dropbox, and I want to know what's best for myself and future clients. 8, I'm curious, and even though technology can sometimes frustrate me, I can learn by researching solutions online and asking for help when needed. True or false? And I have a busy schedule. I'm deciding whether to focus on organizing my own photos first or to start a photo organizing business. So if your answers were mostly true, you're a perfect fit to join our professional community. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. If your answers were false, we do have something called Photo Manager in Training that you can just kind of tip your toe in the water. And if your answers were maybe, again, that a Photo Manager in Training could be helpful. The good news is that you can upgrade at any time and we will prorate your fee. So if you decide that you want to join the Photo Manager in Training and a month in you think, I really want more training, and we'll prorate your membership. So you're not going to have to worry about spending money incorrectly in a way that didn't make sense for you. So let's just talk quickly about what we mean when I say, what is our Photo Manager in Training? So this is we created this as a 1-year journey for people who want to just master the skills of photo organizing and while deciding if this is something for them. So we have on-demand courses on printed and digital photo organizing. We have monthly email prompts. We have skill building webinars. You have a private Facebook group. We have a roadmap checklist where you can get involved with. We have interactive co-working events because, it's lonely being a business owner by yourself a lot of times. So we have Zoom meetings where you can get together with other people all over the world and just get to know each other that way. We have exclusive discounts from many of our partners that we work closely with. and we have virtual and in-person events. And so that's kind of what's involved if you decide to join as a photo manager in training. It's not access to everything in all our training. It's $329 for 1 year. We were actually surprised. We thought it would just be 1 year. We started this last year, and then we realized, well, maybe people might renew, and we've had a significant number of people renewing, which just shows you how busy everybody can be. So they start out maybe with great anticipation, and then they didn't get to it. So that's all right. We're here for you and walking the walk alongside you as you go through this process. So now, though, our mission statement at the Photo Managers is that we are a global industry leader, empowering our member businesses to best serve the diverse needs of their clients. Really, our heart and soul is focused on the small business owner. This is our advisory board at our conference. We have on our board is a member from Australia. We have a member from Canada. We are international. We have members all over the world. We're having our first meetup in Australia, and last October we had our second Europe meetup in Amsterdam. So this is a worldwide problem, and everybody has this problem. So as I mentioned, we have over 700 members who have all been right where you are right now, wondering if they should do this business. And we know your questions. Who hires a photo manager? How much can you earn? What are the top services? And we recently did a survey. We're actually getting ready to do this again, but we did this last year. For the first time, we actually have some statistics. 55% of our members responded. And so here's just a quick overview of what people are doing in the photo manager world. Most of our members are college educated women. More and more men are joining all the time, age 40 and older. They live in the US, Canada, Europe, Australia. 66% of the folks work their business full-time or part-time as a photo manager, while 33% do it just as a side gig or retirement. 25% of the people who answered this survey were brand new, 1 year in, and 20% of our members that answered have been doing this over 10 years. That just shows you the career longevity. We have many members who have been doing this 10, 12, 15 years now. Most professionals report 2 to 3 new clients a month with 80% repeat business. That's a great number. You don't have to constantly be out looking for new clients, because guess what? Life keeps happening and people keep taking photos. And so maybe you organize their printed photos and scanned all their, their somebody's parents' photos after a parent passed away. And then suddenly there's a high school graduation or a wedding and they need access to those photos again, or they want a video montage. I mean, there's so many different services our members offer. The most profitable are printed photo organizing and scanning. Many of our members also do camera scanning. So you already have probably a digital SLR, and camera scanning is a great way, a very good profitable way. And that's what we talk about, what people need. They need all those boxes of photos scanned and digitized so they're not lost in a fire. Digital organizing and photo book creation are also high up there. Most projects take 2 to 3 months to complete, and with about 26% take over 20 hours. The people who hire a professional photographer, photo manager, are predominantly women, 45 plus. And so that just gives you a quick overview, and we have more of this information coming out. So as a professional membership, we have what we call our 4 core deliverables. It's education, it's community, it's access to our discounts on our products and services, plus credibility. So education, I think, is really the gold standard of our membership and what sets us apart. This is our core curriculum. As soon as you join, these courses are included in your membership, but I'm going to encourage you to not think you have to watch all of these before you can get clients, or that you need to have watched all of them. They're there for you to dip your, to use as needed. But we have a great course on, organizing a client's printed photos. That's very different than your own family photos. And if somebody drops off, we have, hundreds and hundreds of photos of members who will end up going to a client's home and coming home with like their bins of their printed photos back to their home studios, where then they go through that process of kind of pulling that together before we believe that you should organize a collection before you digitize it. It saves money, it makes more sense, and you shouldn't digitize every photo that was ever taken. So we have courses on, building blocks of digital photo organizing, how to scan photos, slides, and negatives. We also have monthly training webinars. For instance, we know that, the iOS update just happened, and we had a great we have subject matter experts who bring in every month. We do training courses that are included in your membership and in our training library. We talked about community and a rising tide. We have 2 philosophies: a rising tide lifts all boats, and that we're collaborative, not competitive. We build community through regional meetings. So once you join, you'll be introduced to a regional meeting. The country is kind of divided up in the world. For instance, the Northeast or the Mid-Atlantic states. And those are free. They're monthly. It's a great way to get to know other professional members in your general geographic area. We have an amazing private Facebook group, which is like a 24-hour support hotline. We do monthly networking meetings. We have a mentorship program. We have monthly roundtable conversations. And it's just a great organization of people. I feel like it's self-selective. If you really care deeply about photos and stories, and you have to have a curiosity about people, and you're probably just by nature going to be an interesting, because you're interested in other people. So coming to our conference is always a great experience for people. They can't believe how friendly everybody is. And over the years, I've thought, I think we're just self-selecting. If you love this work, you just by nature really enjoy people and the stories that they tell. We have recently instituted a mentoring program where we actually group new members together with 3 to 4 members. Again, that knowing that community and support from other people is really helpful in a business as a small business owner. And so we have many members who are professional, who have volunteered. They meet 6 times over 3 months with the goal that small group will keep going and become really great friends and help and support one another throughout their business career. We also, just like with our photo manager in training, we have amazing relationships with lots of great companies. The other thing is, if you're a person who likes to geek out on new technology or new businesses, we're the place to come to. I probably get an email a month, or not a month, almost a week, of new companies that have new products on the market that they're interested in. They've learned that we create great focus groups. So a lot of our members sign up, and we have a group right now, 5 of our members who are working on a new software program that could be really a game changer for if you scan photo albums using a digital SLR camera, and it's a software that's going to auto crop and auto fix and do all sorts of things. So we have lots of opportunities, if you enjoy that kind of process, to meet with different companies. We also have a certification program. We are relaunching our certification on February 1st. That, from the beginning, we had certification. We knew that working with a client's photos requires a strong code of ethics and understanding of best practices. And so we have been working closely with a large group of subject matter experts. And once you're certified, then you're also listed in our public directory so people can find you. So the cost for professional membership is everything that I mentioned, plus a lot more that I'm not mentioning. It's either just $195 per quarter or $649 for the year. And so we do everything we can to bring as much value as we can to your investment. And we want everybody to be successful, because again, this is a growing business, and it's a growing need throughout the world. And we are the pioneers who've really created this. And then we've recently launched a new, what we call Photo Manager Professional Plus, for the person that really knows that they want to jump in right off the bat and create a profitable and sustainable business right away. They want to offer digital photo organizing, not just scanning or printed photo organizing. And so this program is for them. You definitely know you want a profitable business. You've done your homework, you understand the market potential. There's an endless need for the work that we do, and you want to grow and scale quickly. Then we have a course that's called Digital Photo Pro, which will walk you through the top 3 programs on the market: Photo Mechanic, Apple Photos, and Adobe Lightroom Classic, and how to use those to do digital organizing for yourself and for your clients. And so you'll go from organizing basics to advanced techniques. And so this course is included in this higher level of membership. Plus you get a quarterly live Q&A meeting with the course creator, Caroline. And then we also have already done for you standard operating procedures. Everybody needs a good standard operating procedure. If you've been in business for a while, you know how important it is not to have to reinvent the wheel all the time. And so this is a program that was created by one of our professional members. And it includes, good faith estimates, includes all your communication, client scripts, and email techniques, everything. It's like a plug and play concept, so you don't have to do all this work. The cost for that level of membership is $14.79. And then if you went out and bought either of these programs individually, it would cost over $975. At which point you would go back after a year, you would only be paying that $649. So it's a one-time, additional investment. So we're here, though, to support you wherever you are. So if you want to just start off and join it, you want a business earning an income, you would join at our pro level. If you want to scale right off the bat and know everything immediately, the Pro Plus. Or if you just want to put your toe in the water, the Photo Manager in Training is perfect for wherever you are. We also have a YouTube channel. We encourage you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Every month, we do a career advice from a pro series where we interview different professional photo managers who come from so many diverse backgrounds. It's amazing the people that come to this organization and decide to offer these services. And we do lots of training topics as well. And also we have exclusive offer as a B&H listener. You just can put it in the comments that you found us on a B&H webinar, because we know this YouTube video could be up there hopefully for many long time to come. And so if you join at the photo manager training, we'll send you a copy of my book. If you join at the professional level, we have a special forms bundle to just help you get started. And our Photo Manager Plus is a privacy training course that's excellent, that you actually become certified in understanding really privacy issues. You can actually use that as a business, and also to your clients who will pay you to teach them how to get their passwords set up and get their whole family life much more in line with what needs to happen with the huge issues with cybersecurity. So thank you so much for, I'm going to stop sharing and turn back on my video. And Derek, have we got any questions that have come in, or any thoughts and feedback you have about what we had to say today?
Yeah, we do. I'll get it started with the questions, and of course, keep them coming in, people. Bethany says, as a beginning photographer, how do I grow to unlock the revenue potential? What's a good first step in this direction?
Shlomit, you want to? I'm going to let you go ahead and answer as an expert in that.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So as a beginning photographer, I would say the most important thing is probably to get your skills sort of up to par. Make sure that you are confident with using, let's say, Lightroom, and understanding. I really think that if you want to sort of do both aspects of the business, photography and photo management from the beginning, honestly, I think joining the photo managers and asking and utilizing some of the resources there would be a great first step, because there's so much education that you can get, and you can start offering the service right away as long as you know how to use, for instance, Lightroom. If you're depending on what you want to do, there's so many different directions you can take it in terms of digital photo organizing, printed photo organizing, that sort of thing. The education that you'll get and asking that question in the photo managers Facebook group, for example, is a great place to start, because it's just a really great community, and people will give you advice on, here's what you need if you want to start doing, printed photo organizing, and here's what you'll need to know if you want to start doing digital photo organizing. So there's a lot of different directions you can go with it.
And another thing, Brittany, our favorite saying is do what you love and outsource the rest. In the beginning, you don't know what you love, maybe, but we have lots of members who maybe they fall in love with scanning. They love the process of scanning photos, and they think it's just, it's relaxing and they enjoy it. We have other members who are like, I don't like that. So what they do is, we have such a great community, you can outsource that piece of your work to somebody, another professional photo manager. And I know, for instance, my son does this full time now. He's been doing it for 2 years here in Connecticut, and he is busy. He does a lot of home movie conversion. He loves scanning. And he doesn't like the digital photo organizing. He's teamed up with another member. She's listed on his website as, but she's not his employee. He's like the project manager. So he project manages it, and he pays her a certain part, and he collects the money. He's the liaison with the client. So that's something else to keep in mind, that you don't have to do everything we're talking about when you first get started.
Some great advice there. I smiled, Cathi, when you said some people love scanning, and I'm like, it is kind of relaxing.
Yeah, I like
I'm in
this.
that groove.
Like I don't do it now anymore, but I found it kind of tedious. Not tedious, but I mean, kind of once you get into a flow and a rhythm of it, it's not.
Yeah, there's a lot better things to do, but there's something.
Do you offer scanning as part of your services? Actually,
are you asking me?
Yeah.
So I do. Yes, I do have limited. I do offer limited scanning services. Depends on the size of the project and what's involved. I prefer digital photo organizing. My specialty is really Apple photo organizing. And it took me a while to really realize that. It took me really getting familiar with like the whole landscape and all the different things that were out there. In the beginning, I did think I had to do everything and I had to learn everything. And I quickly became somewhat overwhelmed and realized that, it was basically, I felt like I've gotten a master's degree in photo organizing because I jumped in again to the deep end, trying to learn everything all at once. But then I really was able to figure out that I really like to focus on digital photo organizing, Apple photo organizing. So I've really become an expert in that particular arena. I even have a class that I'm almost done with, all about Apple photo organizing, that sort of thing. So I do think it's a good idea to find the thing that you love and specialize in that.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about having a community surrounding you, not only to learn from, but you get in that mentality of saying yes and not feeling, saying yes when you want to and not feeling like you have to do something that you're not comfortable with. Because when you're part of a community, it's easier to say, well, you know what? I don't offer that service, but I can recommend you to a number of people who do offer that service, who I can vouch for, who I know. And then you're able to learn at your own pace. When you're in a community, it's like what we've built here with the event space. There's people that reach out to me and people that I reach out to. And it's just because we have that common bond, we're able to trade off information, trade off connections, and kind of build off of one another, which I think is the best aspect of communities right there in the very definition of it. So, gonna get to another question here. Visual modulations, are photo management services something that could be offered to other businesses, likely small or startup, in a B2B sense, or does it primarily fall into family services?
Great question. No, it is. There's a great opportunity in the B2B. And that is a focus that some of our members have focused on. There's lots of small businesses that, having a milestone anniversary. A lot of clients will work with attorneys or estate planners or wealth management companies. I'll be doing a presentation here in Connecticut to a wealth management company. Landscaping companies, interior designers. I mean, today everybody works in images. So businesses, one of our new member, he actually is a real estate agent in town. He's actually here again and also in Connecticut, but he's a real estate agent, and he was helping the real estate company he works for manage all their images, and found us and joined, and he's kind of doing both things at the same time. So it's really interesting, the different levels. I don't know if you ever do any B2B, but there is a huge need for
Schools are also, yes, like schools are
Hmm.
also organizations that often need a lot of help.
Right.
There's again, anniversaries of any sort, whether they're work anniversary or organizational anniversaries, that they always need to easily access all of their materials. And it's a big problem. There's also, some different software that, if you want to get into that field, there's other software that's really recommended for B2B kind of work. But yeah, that's a whole other direction that some people focus in.
Yeah, I wouldn't have even thought
Mhm.
about that. And it makes me think government entities as well, because how many times do you see archival footage, and it's got to make somebody's job easier, right?
In fact, like I was mentioning, Joshua, my son here, he's been doing a big project with a woman here locally around the whole, an aunt who, letters that were exchanged in Germany in German through that she inherited. It's an amazing collection anyway. He's done a lot of work. So he's been scanning letters, not photos or anything. And then he's been working with her, and we partner with a company called Permanent, which is a nonprofit organization. So they're able to create an online gallery of all of that historical documentation, tag it, and so people can search for that and find it into the future. So he's learned a lot about that kind of work. So it's so that, we say photo organizing, but he's working with old letters and documents from and then actually he's done the research, he's learned a lot himself, and then working with the client and the family to kind of create that online gallery to share with the public as well.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Another
that's why it's
question.
such a
Oh, yeah,
it's
go ahead,
I was
Shlomit.
just going to add that it is such a great opportunity for people who love to learn, because you get involved in these stories, whether it's of families and their histories, or organizations, and you end up just learning a lot yourself about all of this stuff. So it's a great way to do that. If you're a curious person, that's
Yeah.
probably the most common quality that all of us have.
I I
photo
can
photo
empathize and
managers.
sympathize with that. Look, we talked about it before we went live today. It's like it's great. I put myself in a position where I could just learn. And I think when you're doing something you're passionate about and something you love, that this is cut out for you. I have a friend who works the flea market circuit, and he travels the country buying old photos and old photo gear, and he just loves looking at old photos. He doesn't have to have the story, but just the wonderment, I guess, which I kind I get it, because I look at old photos sometimes and it's kind of cool just to wonder what was going on. And, photography is so big now, but it wasn't so big. But then when you look at people who have boxes and boxes and boxes of photos from the early 1900s, and you're like, wow, I thought nobody took pictures back then. And it's like, no. And it's not even just like family portraits. It's just everyday photos that you would expect to see in this generation, but not in decades past. It's kind of cool just to get the mind going and kind of wonder about all that.
Yeah, I mean, and I think this generation, it's interesting because this generation is literally the most photographed generation in all of human history, right? The kids' generation now, but they're actually most at risk of not having any like remnants of their childhood because we can't literally hand a kid a hard drive one day or an adult child a hard drive one day and go, here you go. Here's like 100,000s of photos of your life. It's meaningless. And so it's actually even more important than it was when we had fewer photos like that to curate them, to tell the stories, to save a smaller collection that that you can share one day. I think that we have so much access now to technology that can help us do that, but unless we have an intentional plan, it's very likely that it won't happen. And so so much is liable to just be lost in a digital black hole if we're not intentional about it.
That's such a great point. And I know we've touched upon that somewhere along the way of, yes, there's too much. And I've probably asked Cathi this at least 5 times already. How much do you hold? How much do you print out? What do you need? How do you whittle that collection down? Bring back photo albums, bring back shoe boxes.
It's funny that there is a growing, print, the pendulum is kind of swinging, right? There is a movement towards printing. The other thing I talk a lot about with young families too is now today we know kids, right? They know my niece, she's 1, right? She knows as soon as the phone comes out to look and smile, right? She's like learned that from a very young age already and then she wants to look at the phone. Well, but they also don't want their kids to be constantly looking at devices. So it's a real battle. And so that's why I think an increased interest in printing photos and making photo books like an ABC book, or this is a day in this is your life, or here's your Aunt Mary and Uncle, or here's Aunt Cathi and Uncle Larry. And so I think this next generation is beginning to understand the value of reprinting and in making books, photo books in particular for children, to help them see their family photos without always handing them a device too. So it's just an interesting time in history.
Photo Managers Junior program coming next spring. We got to get them started early.
There you go. Hey, if you got any teenagers, you could put them to work doing your scanning. That's a lot of our members will use their teenagers or young adult kids as their also work for them. That's not uncommon. A number of family businesses, actually. It's not uncommon for us to have lots of members that husband and wives doing it together and things. My son's, when his wife is a teacher, and whenever she's off, he's taught her how to scan and do things for him. So
it's a great habit to build, even just the organizational aspect. My son's 7 and I already have him. I'm showing him, how we catalog images and where you can find them. And I'm, hey, if you want to go in and see, because he would always come up and he's, Dad, I want to look at my Las Vegas pictures. And it's like, so I show him, this is how you get in. This is how you go into here. And repetition, because like Shlomit says, it's this generation and the upcoming generations, it's only going to get more documented. And these are skills that they're not going to go anywhere. They're only going to be more and more useful as they get older. And who doesn't want to have organizational skills in general in life, whether we're talking about photos or not? Another question from Visual Modulations. Are there any sort of job listing as a member to connect photo managers that could complement each other's skill set? Do you guys have any? Is there like an internal?
That's on our roadmap, but right now it's a little informal in that we are we're a pretty connected group. So with that Facebook group, believe it or not, is really recently we would all love to eliminate Facebook. None of us think it's the best, but right now it still is. I think we'd have an uproar. A lot of our members only log into Facebook for that. We know that it's not the ideal. There's other things, but that's a great way. And then also we know each other in the business. You'll immediately be put in a regional group. And you'll have access to the email list and the list of everybody in your region right away. So that's another great way to kind of start to personally reach out. and make connections like that. So we're all about the value of connecting. Our goal is to connect our members as much as possible, because again, a rising tide lifts all boats, and we are the healthy organization that we are today because of the collaboration. We're not competitive. There's so much more business than photo managers that nobody has to worry about too many people in their town or something. It's not going to be a problem.
I love that. And it is such a great mentality to have where it's like, I'm not worried about you. I'm doing my own thing. And it kind of seems like the type of thing where it's like, I can take off these things, and there might be someone who wants to go and do every single service, and somebody who wants to dedicate 60% of their time versus I only have 10 hours per week that I can,
Yeah, we have a lot of, I mean, she like, and then they narrow down, like she does, you're working mostly with Apple Photos. So if a big scanning project comes your way, I'm sure you're outsourcing it to a trusted partner that's probably a member or somebody that you formed a relationship with. And then, it takes a while to work with clients. It's not like, what's an average length of time? So you can't only have so many clients. And now we have a lot of members who have added subcontractors or employees, but many that just are solo entrepreneurs. So how many clients can you take at a time? So there's a point where you can't take on new clients, I would think.
Yeah. Sometimes there's a waiting list. It just really depends on what's going on in a given month. I mean, that's actually the great thing too, is sort of if there's a slower month or I want to focus on one thing versus another in any given time period, sort of dialing up the photo organizing and dialing down the photography and vice versa. Sometimes it's just, I think most of the time it actually just kind of organically happens, because very often when I'm working with a photography client, and they hear I do this, it's another service that they're really interested in. And for different clients, it's different kinds of projects. So it's hard to say like how many, because it really depends on the scope of the project. Some projects take months, and some projects, are a lot less time if it's just designing a photo book or something like that. So it really varies.
I'm curious about the aspect of, there's kind of two types of things. There's a finished collection, and it's like, okay, I have a shoebox full of photos. I want these scanned and organized and whatever. But there's also the ongoing for people, say somebody like me, who's like, okay, I need help. My catalog's a mess. I'm not going to stop taking photos. I'm going to be adding to the mess while we're going. Is there like is this something that gets worked in when you're having these consultations? Is there like hey, we're going to get through this for you and help you with this, but we're also going to school you on how to hit the ground running with your new stuff so that it's not just adding to the mess, but it's kind of blended in. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Should I take that, or Cathi, do you want to answer?
Go ahead. And then I have a thought. I'll just share this. I mean, I was just visiting one of our members, and she had a big Apple computer set up, and a client, one of her team members working on it. And she's like, oh, well, this is our, they have a subscription. I think it's $250 a month or so. I forget what they charge, but where they go in and they have their list of clients, and they go log into their Apple photo library or whatever, and they do the maintenance for them. It's like a monthly maintenance plan, and that's become a big growing part of their business. They have, I think, 10 or 15 clients now on maintenance, because most people don't keep up with it. But ideally, you want to, I think, I'll let Shlomit take it from here. How do you handle that?
Yeah. So the first thing is that shoebox of photos and your digital library should really be considered two separate entities. So the first recommendation is to think of those as two separate projects, right? And actually, notwithstanding the fires right now in LA, which obviously, it does kind of put, an urgency on some of this. Most of the time, it's recommended that people actually make sure their digital life is backed up first before the printed organizing, because those digital memories are actually more at risk if they're not properly backed up. Because I hear all the time of, horror stories of people losing their entire digital collections because of either human error or some kind of cloud glitch or some kind of thing. And so getting that part of your life in order is probably a priority first for most people. And then in terms of the maintenance, yeah, part of what I teach people, whether I'm doing their organizing or this course that's almost done, is all about teaching people how to do it themselves. And so that they can really manage it. And, the more sophisticated the software has gotten, we think Apple, everything should be super easy, right? Apple's whole, mantra is basically like, just make things simple, easy, straightforward. But the truth is, the more things the software can do for us, the more complex it is. And so the more there is to learn about it, and it's not necessarily obvious and intuitive. And literally, Apple just updated their Photos app. A lot of people are really upset with how it's updated. It's actually a great update. There's a lot of really great things about it. You just have to understand it. And what's frustrating to people is now having to learn a whole bunch of new stuff, and things got moved around. And so it's just a matter of taking a little bit of time to learn it. And when we learn it from someone who's, that's what we do day in and day out, it's helpful because we're thinking about it in that way of how to get our own photo collections organized so we can find what we need. Because ultimately, that's the goal, finding what you need easily and being able to share those with people you care about. That's ultimately the goal.
I was an early beta tester of it, and I still haven't fully. They've made it so easy to organize it the way you want, and like you said, Shlomit, you have to do it.
We're busy. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's why is there a need for professional photo managers? Why did we didn't, there's no such thing 25 years ago or 20 years ago. I think, as consumers, we can't keep up. I mean, I'm going to hang up from this call and I'm probably going to have 25 emails and 7 text messages and, and of which a lot might not even matter, or 20 more podcasts that I can now listen to that, my favorite part, Substack. Now I'm a big Substack person, trying to limit my Substack subscriptions. And it's like, oh, so I think that's where these technology companies, they keep updating, and they're in their own bubbles creating this. And that's where, again, as photo managers, we get to be the testers and do a lot of beta testing and things too. A lot of companies find us because they have created a really great solution, but there's a company they've gone from Ollie, now they're going to be Dally Delete. It's actually a pretty cool app that for deleting your Apple photos in your Apple photo library. They've worked really hard on it, but they're still going to have trouble getting traction because I always say, I'm not sitting around thinking who created a great app for me today to help me delete the photos off my phone. It just, so again, that's just job security on our part in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of it is cutting through that overwhelm. And it at this point in our culture, we've just gotten to the point where in order to really understand a particular field, to have expertise in it, like people need someone to just kind of curate their feed of their life, right? Like, what do I need to pay attention to? And what can I ignore? What will work for me? What won't? And so there isn't necessarily a one size fits all solution, right? And that's the thing about photo managers too, is that most of us really can direct people to like, what's the solution that will work best for them? And that's the thing that most people want, right? It's just like, cut through all that noise, help me just figure out what I need. I can't like test all this stuff, learn all this stuff. It's overwhelming. I don't know where to start. Where do I start? So that's what we help people with.
Wonderful. Don't give a 7-year-old a 20 frame per second camera and teach them how to use burst mode. Just going to throw that in there. That's just an added bonus. That's what we're going through over here. So I've had to tap into the photo managers, a lot of bits and pieces from various events that we've had with you guys here and there try to organize. It's like, I got to get my own life together. And now I got a 7-year-old that knows how to shoot cameras rapid fire or shoot pictures rapid fire. So a lot of great information here, a lot of great tips. Shlomit, you hit on something as well, that, the digital aspect. It's like, I think we've had this false sense of security with digital, and that is even start to unravel for those of us who have dipped in and tried to, an old CD of pictures that now doesn't read. And it doesn't matter whether you have a CD drive or not. The technology it comes down to physics. If it wears out, if it deteriorates, digital's not forever. So it's just something to think about. And I that's why I love these presentations, because it's keeping us constantly aware of not only what we have at our disposal, but things that we might not even think about, that we just have this blanket of false security. And we really need to be aware that digital, it doesn't matter. I have probably every cloud service out there. Give me the max, give me the max, give me the max. Hard drives, give me this, give me that. In 15 years from now, if I don't do anything with it, it could all just be useless chunks of plastic taking up extra space. So thank you, ladies, for another Another very important. This is probably one of the most important series that we do on here because none of our other events matter if you can't learn how to manage your photos and keep them for good. So Cathi, always great to have you back on.
Yep.
Shlomit, thank you for joining us. And to all the others out there in the photo managers world, thank you guys all honestly for everything you guys do. And to all of our viewers out there, don't be a me. Listen. Cathi hears me come on every time. Like, I'm going to start next time. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
I know. I'll see you next in January 2026. We'll check in on you. How's that going? Now you'll have an 8-year-old. I have an 8-year-old who takes off.
I know. hopefully I'll have my act together by then.
Okay.
But we will see. Huge thank you to the ladies here for joining us. To all of our viewers out there, you know what I'm about to say. Another edition of the B&H Event Space in the books. Catch y'all next time.